Introduction. I transmigrated into a book and became a top-tier, fabulously wealthy man who just wants to lie flat. For fun, I took a cameo role as an overbearing CEO on a film set. The director added a scene on the fly, sending me to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register a marriage. As a result, by some twist of fate, I ended up with a real marriage certificate with a sweet girl I didn't even know. Staring at the freshly issued red booklet in my hand, and at the wife before me whose smile was sweeter than honey, I was completely numb. Even more absurdly, it seems this wife I acquired so cheaply is the actual destined female lead of this book. Chapter 1. My name is Lin Yin, and I'm a transmigrator. In my previous life, I was a corporate slave, trapped in the rat race. I was either working overtime or on my way to work overtime. In the end, I died from overwork at my desk before I could even retire. When I opened my eyes again, I had transmigrated into a male protagonist power fantasy novel I was reading right before I died. I became the cannon fodder supporting male character with the same name. A second-generation rich kid from a mining family, with explosive good looks but not much going on in the brains department, who was also a sycophantic simp. In the original novel, this Lin Yin was head over heels in love with his fiancée, the Ice Queen CEO, Jiang Ruoxue, only to be used as her stepping stone. His family's fortune was devoured, and his end was tragic. As for me, after familiarizing myself with my current identity, I had only one thought. To hell with the plot, to hell with the fiancé. I'm going to lie flat. The business empire, the family honor. Let my subordinates handle all that hustle. I, Lin Yin, from this day forward, am only interested in three things: fitness, food, and how to enjoy life more comfortably. 8-pack abs and V-lines are my standard. The 8 major cuisines of China are my life's pursuit. In my spare time, I brew a little baijiu and huangjiu. Life couldn't be more pleasant. As for women, to be honest, this body's hardware is too superior. At 1.88 meters, with a sculpted face, I'm never sure of admirers buzzing around me like bees to honey. But I keep them all at a distance. The reason is simple. I am tired, truly. My last life was exhausting enough. In this life, I just want to live for myself. And that Ice Queen fiancé from the original book, Jiang Ruoxue, the day after I transmigrated, I called her and broke off the engagement. On the other end of the line, her signature ice-cold voice carried a trace of shock and disdain. Lin Yin, are you sure? Don't regret it. I yawned, my voice lazy. No regrets, absolutely no regrets. You're a busy woman, President Jiang. I'm going back to sleep. After hanging up, the world was quiet. From then on, the vast sea was for the fish to leap, the high sky for the birds to fly. I began living the slacker life of my dreams. I'd wake up naturally every day, have my assistant Shinamo bring company documents to my bedside, spend 5 minutes listening to the gist, give a general wave of direction, and the rest was all his. Shinmo was a top-tier workaholic. The more I slacked, the more motivated he became, as if he had to work hard enough for the both of us. In just 1 year, the company's performance, instead of declining, soared, and its stock price rose all the way. My cheap old dad couldn't stop smiling, praising me for my great wisdom that looks like foolishness and skill in delegating. I could only offer a profound, inscrutable smile. What I was really thinking was, I'm begging you people, stop hustling, just let me be a useless piece of trash in peace. One day, with nothing better to do, a director friend pulled me onto his set to cameo in a role. An overbearing CEO, a role I was born to play. Only 3 lines of dialogue, an 8-figure appearance fee, and meals were included. The moment I heard it, I thought, isn't this job tailor-made for me? I agreed on the spot. The shoot went smoothly. All I had to do was sit there and put on a "you are all trash" expression, which was no challenge at all for a slacker who just wanted to lie flat. Just as my scenes were about to wrap, the director suddenly ran over with a script, a sycophantic look on his face. Mr. Lin, can we discuss something? I was lying on a recliner, enjoying the grapes my assistant was peeling for me. Hearing him, I couldn't even be bothered to lift my eyelids. Speak. Well, the screenwriter feels the romantic development between you and the female lead is a bit abrupt. We want to add one more scene, just one, the director said, rubbing his hands, his face full of anticipation. What scene? I was getting impatient. I wanted to finish this quickly so I could go home and work on my new recipes. The director chuckled and handed over a single, thin sheet of paper. A scene where you register your marriage. We'll shoot on location at the Civil Affairs Bureau. It'll be absolutely realistic, a guaranteed hit. Me? It was utterly absurd. But on second thought, it's just acting anyway. What difference does the location make? Besides, taking a few pictures at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau wouldn't take much effort. I waved my hand lazily. Fine, just make it quick. As if granted a pardon, the director immediately called over the entire crew, and they set off for the Civil Affairs Bureau in a grand procession. Chapter 2. Arriving at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, the crew got busy setting up the scene and lighting. The makeup artist had me sit down for a touch-up, and I changed into a brand new, high-end custom suit. The female lead hadn't arrived yet. With nothing else to do, I leaned against the car, took out my phone, and started scrolling through short videos. As I was engrossed in reading, a timid voice sounded by my ear. "Excuse me, are you Mr. Lin Yan?" Without lifting my head, I grunted in acknowledgement. This film crew is so inefficient. The female lead is only just arriving. I brought the household registration book and my ID card. The voice was soft and sweet like cotton candy. I found it a little strange. Why would you need a household registration book for acting? Is the props department that dedicated? I finally tore my eyes away from my phone screen and looked up, and then I froze. The girl in front of me was not the female lead from the crew. She was wearing a simple white dress, her long hair reaching her waist. She wore no makeup, yet she was more beautiful than any of the heavily made-up female stars on the set. Especially her eyes, as clear as a spring, held a certain innocence and nervousness untouched by the world. The sunlight fell on her, as if plating her with a golden edge, making even strands of her hair sparkle. I had lived 2 lifetimes, and for the first time, I understood the meaning of angel. The girl felt a little shy under my gaze, a blush creeping up her fair cheeks. She whispered, "My name is Su Qingyuan. My mother told me to come." Su Yingjuan? The name sounded a bit familiar, but I couldn't place it right away. As I was still dazed, she had already taken out 2 small booklets from her bag and handed them to me. 1 household registration book, 1 ID card. Both were real. I was even more confused. What is this for? Su Qingyuan blinked her innocent, large eyes. Aren't we here to get our marriage certificate? Me? I subconsciously glanced back at the chaotic film set not far away. Lights, cameras, reflectors. This setup, no matter how you looked at it, seemed like filming a movie. Could I have misunderstood? Has acting become this immersive nowadays? Just as my head was full of questions, Su Qingyuan spoke again, her voice even softer, with a hint of grievance that was hard to detect. Did you change your mind about marrying me? If you regret it, it's okay. I'll go back and tell my mom myself. As she spoke, her eyes reddened and crystal tears hung on her long eyelashes, threatening to fall, making one's heart ache. I have a soft spot for cry girls, especially a girl as beautiful as this. On impulse, I blurted out, "No regrets, let's do it. Isn't just acting? Let's go all the way. The props are all ready anyway. I'll just treat it as an early experience of the marriage registration process." Hearing my words, Su Qingyuan immediately beamed through her tears, her smile so brilliant it outshone the surrounding sunlight. "That's great. Let's go in quickly, or we'll have to wait in line for a long time." She naturally took my hand. Her palm was warm and soft. My whole body stiffened. This body's reaction was far more honest than my brain. A wave of heat rushed uncontrollably to my lower abdomen. Damn it. I cursed silently, trying to maintain a calm facade as she pulled me into the Civil Affairs Bureau. There were many people in the bureau, and we soon got our number, taking photos, filling out forms, taking the oath. Throughout the entire process, I was in a dreamlike state. Su Qingyuan, on the other hand, was very excited, chattering nonstop. "Lin Yan, smile a little. Wedding photos look better when you smile happily. Is this character written correctly? Oh my, I'm so nervous my hands are shaking. From now on, we are husband and wife. Please take good care of me, hubby." That last hubby she whispered in my ear, her warm breath on my earlobe, soft and tingly. I felt like my sanity was about to desert me. When the staff handed us the two freshly stamped red booklets, I still hadn't processed it. I took the red booklet and opened it. Inside was our photo together. In the photo, my expression was stiff, while Su Qingyun was smiling like a flower, her head resting intimately on my shoulder. Name, Lin Yan. Name, Su Yingjuan. Relationship, husband and wife. Below was a bright red, official seal that was unmistakably real. My mind buzzed and went completely blank. This is real, not a prop. I snapped my head up to look at Su Qingyuan. She was also looking at me, her eyes sparkling as if they held a galaxy of stars. Hubby, she said, waving the red booklet in her hand, her eyes curving into crescents as she smiled. Where are we going now? Should we go celebrate? I opened my mouth, but couldn't utter a single word. Lin Yin, a slacker who just wanted to lie flat, had just accidentally gotten married to a strange girl I had known for less than half an hour? What the hell is this? Chapter 3. As I stood there, utterly bewildered, a commotion erupted at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. The director, along with the assistant director and the female lead, came running over, panting. Ouch! Young Master Lin, why did you come in by yourself? We had a small problem with the machine here, just fixed it, and we're about to call you, the director said, wiping away his sweat. When he saw Su Qingyuan next to me and the little red books in our hands, the expression on his face froze instantly. This is, he asked, pointing at Su Qingyuan and stammering. My wife. Before I could even speak, Su Qingyuan had already graciously taken my arm and given the director a sweet smile. The director's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The female lead of the crew, a second-tier starlet, had an even more spectacular expression, her face alternating between pale and flushed. She probably thought Su Qingyuan was some nobody who had appeared out of nowhere to steal her role. Director, what's going on? Weren't we supposed to film the marriage registration scene with young Master Lin and me today? She stomped her foot, her tone full of accusation. My head was spinning. Now, I finally understood. It turned out Su Qingyuan wasn't part of the film crew at all. She had really come looking for a man named Lin Yan to marry. And I, who also happened to be named Lin Yan, happened to appear at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau at that exact moment. A monumental, earth-shattering mix-up. I cleared my throat, trying to explain. Has there been some kind of misunderstanding? Before I could finish, Su Qingyuan suddenly leaned close to my ear and whispered in a voice only the two of us could hear, Hubby, if my mom finds out I'm marrying the wrong person right now, she'll break my legs. Can you bear to see that happen? Her voice was soft and syrupy, with a hint of coquettishness, mixed with an imperceptible trace of cunning. I turned my head and met her large, watery eyes. Could I bear it? I looked at her angelic face and answered silently in my heart. It seems. I can't really bear it. Forget it. We're already married. Besides, I needed a wife anyway to deal with my dad who pesters me about marriage every day. Who I marry doesn't make a difference, does it? The one in front of me is at least pleasing to the eye and seems to have a sweet personality. It's not a loss. As for why she was in such a hurry to get married, even to the point of mixing up the person, that's her business. I couldn't be bothered to care, as long as she doesn't disturb my peaceful, lazy life. With that thought, I hardened my resolve, put my arm around Su Qingyuan's shoulder, and said to the dumbfounded director, We're not filming. My assistant will transfer the breach of contract fee to you. I'm getting married today, so everyone in the crew gets the day off. It's on me. After saying that, I ignored the petrified group of people behind me, pulled my brand new, bargain-priced wife, and got into my Rolls-Royce. The car door closed, shutting out all the clamor of the outside world. I leaned back against the seat and let out a long sigh, feeling like I had just fought a tough battle. Hubby, where are we going now? Su Qingyuan looked around at the luxurious interior of the car with curiosity, her eyes sparkling. Let's go home first. I gave the address of my mountaintop villa. Since things had already developed to this point, I had to get her settled first. Along the way, Su Qingyuan was like a curious child, asking about everything. Wow, your car is so beautiful, even nicer than my dad's. Hubby, what do you like to eat? I know how to cook lots and lots of dishes. I know a little bit of all 8 major Chinese cuisines. Do you like small animals? I have a ragdoll cat named Tang Yuan. He's super cute. I'll bring him to see you next time. I answered her intermittently, my mind busy with calculations. This girl, she seems to come from a good family, knows how to cook, and likes small animals. Except for seemingly having a screw loose and mistaking her marriage partner, she seems pretty perfect in every other aspect. This deal doesn't seem like too much of a loss for me, does it? Perhaps this is heaven's compensation for me, a transmigrator. Since I can't fight it then, I might as well lie back and enjoy it. The car drove steadily into the villa area on the mountainside. My assistant, Chen Mo, was already waiting at the entrance. When he saw me get out of the car, followed by the fairy-like Su Qingyin, his eternally icy face showed a crack for the first time. Mr. Lin, this is... Chen Mo's gaze darted back and forth between the two of us, his eyes behind his glasses filled with shock. I tossed the little red book to him. Chen Mo fumbled to catch it, opened it, and was completely stunned. Mary, his voice changed pitch. I was too lazy to explain and just waved my hand. My wife, Su Qingyuan, go, tidy up the guest room. No, tidy up the room next to the master bedroom. And have the kitchen prepare dinner. Make it a lavish one. Yes, Mr. Lin. Although Chen Mo was full of doubts, he immediately bowed and took his orders, going off to make the arrangements with extreme efficiency. I led Su Qingyuan into the villa. She was like a curious little rabbit, looking here and touching there, filled with a sense of novelty about everything. Wow, your house is huge. This staircase is spiral. It's so beautiful. Hubby, is that your gym? Can I go in and take a look? She pointed to the room in the corner of the first floor that I had converted into a professional gym, her eyes sparkling. I nodded, of course. Pushing the door open, various top-of-the-line fitness equipment gleamed with a metallic luster under the lights. Su Qingyan let out a small gasp, then walked straight to my bench press rack, reached out her slender fingers, and carefully poked the cold barbell on it. You're so amazing, being able to lift something this heavy. She turned to look at me, her eyes filled with little stars of adoration. Her gaze made me a little uncomfortable. I cleared my throat. It's all right, I just trained casually. So, she suddenly leaned closer to me, tilting up her small face, her voice lowered to a seductive whisper, Can I touch your abs? I felt my throat go instantly dry. This girl, she's way too direct. Looking at her expectant eyes, I nodded as if possessed. Having received permission, Su Qingyuan's eyes shone even brighter. She reached out her cool little hand, gently lifted the hem of my t-shirt, and then pressed down. The moment her fingertips touched my firm muscles, my body tensed up sharply. A jolt of electricity shot up from my abdomen, instantly spreading through every limb and bone. Su Qingyuan's hand was very soft, with a hint of coolness. Against my scorching skin, it felt like a piece of fine mutton fat jade, the sensation astonishingly good. She seemed to be amazed by the firm feel as well, whispering in awe, Wow, it's real. So hard. Me. Lady, that's a very dangerous adjective to use. I could feel my cheeks burning, and my breathing grew heavy. This body's reaction is just too honest. I'm about to lose control. Just as I was about to lose it, Su Qingyuan finally withdrew her hand, a satisfied smile on her face. Feels great. She licked her lips, still savoring the moment, then skipped off to look at the other equipment as if nothing had happened. I stood rooted to the spot, taking several deep breaths to suppress that wicked fire. I take back what I said before. This girl isn't missing a screw. She's clearly a little devil in an angel's disguise, sent specifically to be my undoing. Dinner was a lavish spread, a fusion of Chinese and Western cuisine that filled the entire table. I didn't have much of an appetite, my mind still a chaotic mess. Su Qingyuan, on the other hand, ate happily, offering commentary as she went. This lobster is good, very fresh. The steak is a bit overcooked. I'll make it for you next time. My beef Wellington is super delicious. Hubby, why aren't you eating? Is it not to your liking? She picked up a piece of abalone with her chopsticks, placed it in my bowl, and looked at me with concern. I looked at the springy abalone in my bowl, then at her innocent face, and suddenly felt that this marriage might actually be quite interesting. At least, it's much more interesting than eating alone. I me kink. I picked up the abalone and put it in my mouth. It was indeed delicious. After dinner, Chen and Mo came to report to me. Mr. Lin, the news of your flash marriage today has already spread throughout our circle. He pushed up his glasses, his expression serious. The Jiang family also knows. Oh, I responded without a ripple of emotion. So what if they know? The engagement is off anyway. Miss Jiang Ruoxue has called you many times, but you didn't answer. She just sent a message, saying she wants to see you. Chen Mo continued. Ifronet, tell her I'm busy. Busy spending time with my wife. Chen Mo paused for a moment. Then the corners of his mouth curved into a barely perceptible arc. Understood, Mr. Lin. He turned and left. I could sense his steps were much lighter. It seems that guy has also been displeased with that ice queen for a long time. I returned to the living room, where Su Qingyuan was hugging a throw pillow, curled up on the sofa, watching a cartoon. On the TV screen, a yellow SpongeBob was catching jellyfish with a pink starfish. She watched with great relish, letting out bell-like laughter from time to time. Hearing my footsteps, she turned her head and waved me over. Hubby, come and watch with me. It's hilarious. I walked over and sat down beside her. She immediately scooted over like a little kitten and rested her head on my shoulder. The familiar sweet fragrance entered my nostrils, and my body stiffened again. Hubby, she said softly, are we considered to be living together now? I grunted vaguely. So, when are we having the wedding? She asked again. I was stumped. A wedding? I hadn't even thought about it. There's no hurry, right? I said perfunctorily. There's no hurry, she nodded, then suddenly lifted her head and kissed me on the cheek. Soft and fragrant. I froze completely. But she, as if she had done something extraordinary, her cheeks flushed red, her eyes sparkling as she looked at me and whispered, I've put my stamp on it. You're mine now, no takebacks. Looking at her pure yet seductive appearance, the last line of defense in my heart began to crumble. Takebacks? I looked at this sweet and soft wife who had offered herself up. It seemed I couldn't bear to take it back either. Chapter 5. The next day, I woke up late as expected. As I walked downstairs yawning, I was greeted by a rich, fragrant aroma. In the dining room, Su Qingyuan was wearing a pink apron, busy in the open-plan kitchen. The morning light shone on her through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the scene as beautiful as an oil painting. Hubby, you're awake. Come and have breakfast. I made your favorite Chinese-style breakfast. When she saw me, her eyes lit up, and, as if presenting a treasure, she served several small dishes and a steaming bowl of century egg and lean pork congee. I was a little surprised. How did you know I like Chinese-style breakfast? I guessed, she winked playfully. Don't you like drinking baijiu and huangjiu? People who like these traditional things should have more traditional tastes, right? My heart stirred slightly. This girl was quite perceptive. I sat down and took a sip of the congee. It was unexpectedly delicious. Is it good? She looked at me expectantly. I nodded. Yes, it's delicious. Receiving my affirmation, she was happier than if she had eaten it herself, her eyes curving into crescents as she smiled. Just at this warm and harmonious moment, an uninvited guest shattered the tranquility. The doorbell rang. The butler went to open the door, and soon, a cold figure appeared at the entrance of the dining room. The visitor was dressed in a well-tailored black business suit, her long hair tied up impeccably, wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. The gaze behind the lenses was like a cold current from Siberia. It was my ex-fiancée, Jiang Ruoxue. When she saw me, her expression didn't waver in the slightest, as if looking at an insignificant stranger. But when her gaze fell on Su Qingyuan, a crack finally appeared in that icy demeanor. She looked Su Qingyuan up and down, her brows furrowing slightly, her tone laced with undisguised contempt. Lin Yin, is this your new flame? Your taste is as bad as ever. Su Qingyuan felt a little uncomfortable under her gaze and subconsciously leaned closer to me. I put down my spoon, wiped my mouth with a napkin, and only then did I slowly raise my head to look at Jiang Ruoxue. To what do I owe the pleasure of your visit? CEO Jiang. My tone was flat, even a little lazy. Jiang Ruoxue seemed to dislike this attitude of mine. She pushed up her glasses, her voice growing colder. I came to tell you that your decision to break off the engagement yesterday was extremely foolish. Without the Jiang family support, the Lin Group will be eliminated by the market in less than 3 months. Oh, I raised an eyebrow. Is that so? Then I'll wait and see. My reaction was clearly not what she expected. She thought I would panic, regret it, and beg her. But I didn't. I just found it amusing. Where did a paper character living in a pre-written plot get the confidence to boss around a transmigrator with a god's eye view? Lin Yin, don't be ungrateful. A hint of anger crept into Jiang Ruoxue's voice. I'll give you one last chance. Come back with me now, apologize to my father, and our engagement can still stand. There's no need, I interrupted her. CEO Jiang, I think you've misunderstood something. It's not you dumping me. It's me not wanting you. Also, let me introduce you. I reached out and put my arm around Su Qingyuan's shoulder, bringing her in front of me. Facing Jiang Ruoxue, I said word by word. This is Su Qingyuan, my legal wife. We just registered our marriage yesterday. The icy expression on Jiang Ruoxue's face finally shattered completely. She stared at us, her eyes filled with disbelief. You got married? Her voice was trembling. As genuine as it gets. I shook Su Qingyuan's little hand. She immediately understood, took the little red booklet out of her bag, and waved it in front of Jiang Ruoxue. The bright red color stung Jiang Ruoxue's eyes. She stared deadly at Su Qingyuan, her gaze like a knife, as if wanting to flay her alive with just a look. On account of her, Jiang Ruoxue's voice was filled with disdain and jealousy. Some wild girl who popped out of nowhere. On what grounds? What could she bring you? How much money does her family have? Can she help you stabilize the Lin Group stock price? Faced with her questioning, Su Qingyuan wasn't scared at all. Instead, she straightened her back, looked at Jiang Ruoxue, and gave a sweet smile. My family doesn't have much money. She paused, then hugged my arm, rested her head on my shoulder, and in a tone both innocent and guileless, said something that almost made Jiang Ruoxue spit blood. But it's enough that my husband has money. Uffed. I couldn't hold it in and almost burst out laughing. Well played, my treasured wife. Jiang Ruoxue's face could no longer be described as merely ugly. It was a twisted expression mixed with anger, humiliation, jealousy, and unwillingness. She had probably never been so infuriated in her entire life. Fine, very good. She gritted her teeth and looked at me. Lin Yin, you will regret this. You and your stupid woman. Just you wait. After speaking, she turned and left in her high heels without looking back. From behind, she looked every bit the part of someone making a hasty and pathetic retreat. As soon as she left, Su Qingyuan immediately let go of my arm, patted her chest, and let out a long sigh of relief. That scared me to death. She's so fierce. Seeing her little still reeling from the shock expression, I couldn't help but laugh. Weren't you pretty formidable just now? That's because I had you to back me up, she said, full of confidence. Then she leaned in again, tilted her little face up at me, and asked, Hubby, did I do a good job just now? Good, very good. I pinched her cheek. It was smooth, tender, and bouncy. Is there a reward then? She asked, her eyes sparkling as she looked at me. I looked at her slightly pouting, glistening lips, and my heart skipped a beat. Yes. I lowered my head and gently pressed a kiss on her lips. Chapter 6 Jiang Ruoxue's revenge came faster than I had imagined. Early the next morning, I was woken up by a call from Chen Mo. President Lin, this is bad. The Jiang family has teamed up with several of our old rivals and are frantically attacking our stock price in the secondary market. It's already dropped 5 points. There was a trace of anxiety in Chen Mo's voice. Oh, I rolled over and went back to sleep. President Lin? Chen Mo on the other end of the line clearly didn't expect this reaction from me. What's the panic? I yawned, my voice muffled. If the sky falls, the tall guys will hold it up. You just handle it. Don't bother me. I need to sleep. With that, I hung up, switched my phone to silent, and tossed it aside. In my arms, Su Qingyuan moved like a little kitten, burying her face in my chest and mumbling, so noisy, before falling back asleep. I looked down at her peaceful, sleeping face, and a little bit of annoyance in my heart instantly vanished. What stock price, what business war, could any of that be better than holding my wife and sleeping? No. So I closed my eyes with a clear conscience and continued my second round of sleep. I slept straight through until noon. When I got up, Feeling refreshed, Su Qingyuan was no longer in bed. I went downstairs and saw her sitting on the living room carpet, having a great time playing with her ragdoll cat named Tang Yuan. The cat was chubby, with snow-white fur and blue eyes like two gems. It did look very cute. What was interesting was that my own aloof British short-hair Machio, whom I'd had for 3 years, was at this moment uncharacteristically cozying up to Tang Yuan, rubbing against it and licking it, as obsequious as a complete simp. I could only shake my head as I watched. As expected, whether human or cat, none can escape the temptation of beauty. "Hubby, you're awake." When Su Qingyuan saw me, she immediately abandoned the 2 cats and ran towards me. "Is everything okay with the company? I think I heard your assistant calling this morning," she asked with some concern. "What could possibly happen?" I said, rubbing her hair. "Even if the company went bankrupt, I'd have enough to support you for several lifetimes." "I don't want that," she pouted. "That's your life's work?" I couldn't bear to see it go. My heart warmed. Although I knew the company was mainly the life's work of my hyper-competitive subordinates, hearing it from her mouth just sounded so sweet. Just then, my phone started vibrating like crazy. I picked it up and saw it was full of missed calls and messages from Chinamo. I casually opened one. "President Lin, the stock price has been pulled back up, and we successfully counterattacked. We took the opportunity to acquire 2 very promising projects they held." "President Lin, it seems the Jiang family's capital chain has broken." "President Lin, the other side is asking for a truce. How do you think we should handle it?" "President Lin, are you there? If you don't reply, I'm going to handle it my way." Before I could reply, a new notification popped up. Hashtag Lin Corporation's stock price hits limit up. Rumor says President Lin was still sleeping today. Hashtag. Me. That kid Shunimo really knows how to create a trending topic. I clicked on the trending topic, and the social media square had already exploded. Holy shit, what kind of divine play is this? The opponent is already at our doorstep, and the big boss is still sleeping. This is a true domineering CEO, devising strategies from within a command tent that will determine victory 1,000 miles away. He can win even in his sleep. Hashtag Lin didn't wake either. I'm claiming this hashtag. This level of coolness is off the charts. Person above, is it possible that CEO Lin's subordinates are just too damn good? That just proves CEO Lin knows how to pick people, to have a group of geniuses willingly work themselves to death for him. That itself is a skill. A smile crept on my face as I read these comments. Sweet. This feeling of effortlessly looking cool while lying down was just too damn sweet. I handed the phone to Su Qingyuan. "See? Everything's fine." After reading it, Su Qingyuan's eyes were filled with little stars. She practically draped herself all over me. "Honey, you're so amazing." I savored her admiration, feeling delighted. Although I knew this had absolutely nothing to do with me. It was all Chan Mo and the pack of workaholics he led. But that didn't stop me from enjoying the fruits of victory. This was the highest realm of lying flat, winning while lying down. "Oh, right." Su Qingyuan suddenly remembered something. "That Miss Jiang, will she be okay?" Although she disliked Jiang Ruoxua, her innate kindness still made her a little worried. "Don't worry." I patted her head. In the world of business, you have to be willing to accept the consequences of your bets. Since she dared to make a move, she has to be prepared to face the outcome. Just as I finished speaking, Chun Mo called again. I answered it this time. "CEO Lin, you finally answered." Chen Mo sounded excited. "The Jiang family side has completely collapsed. Jiang Ruoxua herself is downstairs at our company right now, saying she must see you no matter what." "I'm not seeing her." I refused without hesitation. What's the point of seeing her now, other than to watch her ugly, crying face? I don't have time for that. Tell her if she wants to see me, get in line and make an appointment. My schedule is booked until next year. Understood, CEO Lin. Shinmo's tone was filled with schadenfreude. After hanging up, I looked at the bright sunshine outside the window, my mood excellent. The villain got slapped down, my wife is in my arms, and I have both a cat and a dog. I wouldn't trade this life, even to be an emperor. "Honey," Su Qingyin tugged on the corner of my shirt and asked in a low voice, "What should we have for dinner?" I looked down and met her clear eyes. "We'll eat whatever you want to eat." "Then, I want to eat what you cook," she said, her face holding a trace of anticipation and shyness. My heart instantly melted into a puddle. Okay, I agreed with a smile. Tonight, I'll let you have a taste of your husband's exclusive skills. When life is full of joy, one must enjoy it to the fullest. Let not the golden cup be empty under the moon. The ancients certainly did not deceive me. Chapter 7. I decided to cook personally and show off a little for my sweet little wife. My kitchen was more professional than the back kitchen of most restaurants, fully equipped with all kinds of utensils. I tied on an apron and began to prepare the ingredients. Su Qingyuan followed me like a little tail, now handing me a plate, now washing a scallion for me, busying herself with delight. "Honey, you're so skilled," she said, her eyes full of admiration as she watched my fluid, graceful knife work. "Just the basics," I said casually, playing it cool while chopping vegetables. In my past life, I had practiced my cooking skills diligently to save money. I never expected it to become a skill for wooing girls in this life. I was cleaning a fish when the sharp blade accidentally nicked my fingertip. A tiny cut, oozing a bead of blood. Before I could even react, Su Qingyuan had already cried out in alarm and rushed over. She grabbed my hand and, without a word, put my injured finger into her mouth. A warm, soft sensation instantly enveloped my fingertip. I froze completely, my brain shutting down once again. What is she doing? I could clearly feel her small tongue gently licking my fingertip. A tingling, numbing sensation spread from my finger all the way to my heart. I could even smell the faint scent of vanilla on her breath. After a few seconds, she finally released my finger and lifted her delicate little face. Her eyes were red and misty, and her lips, from the recent suction, looked exceptionally plump and alluring. She looked at me, licked her own lips, and her voice was a little hoarse. "Does it still hurt?" I felt my sanity being devoured, bit by bit, by the beast called desire. My Adam's apple bobbed. My voice was so raspy it didn't sound like my own. "It doesn't hurt anymore." "That's good." She sighed in relief, then her brows furrowed. "It's all my fault. If I hadn't been here distracting you, you wouldn't have cut your hand." Her self-reproachful look was so adorable it made my heart ache. I couldn't hold back any longer. I dropped the kitchen knife, pulled her into my arms, lowered my head, and kissed her fiercely. This kiss was nothing like the light, fleeting one before. It was filled with aggression and possessiveness. I pried open her teeth and invaded, plundering every inch of sweetness from her mouth. At first, Su Qingyuan was a little caught off guard, her body stiff. But soon, she melted in my arms, wrapping her arms tightly around my neck, responding to me clumsily. The temperature in the kitchen was steadily rising. Just as I was about to lose control, my hand sliding uncontrollably towards the hem of her dress, the oil in the pot suddenly sputtered with a loud sizzle. The sound was like a bucket of cold water, snapping me back to my senses in an instant. I abruptly let go of her, panting heavily. Su Qingyuan leaned against the counter, her face as red as a ripe apple, her eyes dazed, her chest heaving violently. We glanced at each other, then both looked away awkwardly. The fish is going to burn," she reminded me in a small voice. Ahem. I cleared my throat, turned around, and frantically started to cook. But my wildly beating heart just wouldn't calm down. We ate that dinner in unusual silence. The air was filled with an indescribable, ambiguous tension. After dinner, I made an excuse about needing to handle work in the study and fled. I needed to cool down. I sat in the study, staring blankly for a long time at a pile of financial reports from Chunemo that I couldn't understand at all. My mind was filled with images of Su Qingyuan's luscious lips and her eyes, which were both innocent and seductive. I ran my hand through my hair in frustration. I admit it, I had fallen for her. This girl, Su Qingyuan, had effortlessly breached all the defenses I had built around my heart in just 2 short days. I like her, not because she's beautiful, nor because she's sweet. It was just a very mystical feeling. When I'm with her, I feel so relaxed, so comfortable. It was a feeling I had never experienced in 2 lifetimes. As my mind was wandering, there was a knock on the study door. "Honey, can I come in?" It was Su Qingyuan's voice. "Come in." She came in holding a glass of warm milk and placed it on my desk. "I saw you didn't eat much at dinner. Drink some milk before you sleep," she said softly. I looked at her, my heart filled with mixed emotions. Su Yingjuan. I suddenly spoke, calling her by her full name. She froze for a moment, seemingly amused to me calling her so seriously. What's wrong? I took a deep breath and decided to lay my cards on the table. Our marriage was an accident. I looked into her eyes and said, word by word, you married me because you mistook me for someone else, and I was just muddled through it. I know you might have your reasons that you needed to get married quickly, but a marriage like this, built on uncertainty, is unfair to both of us. The color drained from Su Qingyuan's face. She bit her lip, her eyes quickly welling up with tears. So, you're going back on your word, aren't you? Her voice trembled, on the verge of tears. Do you despise me now? Seeing her on the verge of tears, my heart felt as if it were being squeezed by an invisible hand, and it ached terribly. What the hell was I saying? I wanted to slap myself. No, it's not. I explained hurriedly. That's not what I meant. She cut me off before I could finish. She suddenly threw herself at me, hugging me tightly. I don't care. She buried her face in my chest, her voice muffled. We're already married. You are my husband. I won't let you take it back. If you dare to leave me, I'll just cry. She cried in my arms like a child, her body racked with sobs. Her warm tears soaked through my thin shirt, drenching my chest, and scalding my heart. All my reason, all my worries, vanished at that moment. I raised my hands and hugged her back tightly. I won't take it back. I promised solemnly in her ear. For the rest of my life, I'll never take it back. To hell with fairness. To hell with reasons. All I knew was that I didn't want to see her cry again. I just wanted to meld her into my very bones, to protect her for a lifetime. Chapter 8. Ever since we cleared the air in the study that night, my relationship with Su Qingyuan entered a completely new phase. We were no longer just a couple in name, but truly began to act like lovers. She would make me a different breakfast every morning, hand me water, and wipe my sweat when I worked out, and watch boring movies with me while holding a bucket of popcorn. And I, in turn, began to learn how to care for her, to look after her. I would remember the dishes she liked, buy her the limited edition bag she had been talking about for ages, and make her brown sugar ginger tea during her period. Our affection for each other grew rapidly amidst these sweet, everyday trifles. Life was peaceful and beautiful, until I received that gold-gilded invitation. Global Business Summit, an annual top-tier business event. Those who received invitations were, without exception, giants in their respective industries. In previous years, I had always sent Chunamo to attend such events on my behalf. But this year, the invitation specifically stated, Mr. Lin Yan is cordially invited to attend with his wife. I looked at the word wife and smiled. It was obvious someone was setting a trap for me. And besides Jiang Ruoxue, I couldn't think of a second person who would do this. She probably wanted to see me make a fool of myself by bringing a woman who couldn't be presented in public to such a high-profile occasion. Honey, what's this? Su Qingyuan leaned over to look. A boring banquet. I casually tossed the invitation aside. I don't want to go. Why not? Su Qingyuan picked up the invitation, her eyes sparkling. It looks so fancy. I want to go and see. She shook my arm and started to wheedle. Let's go. Just think of it as taking me out to have some fun. I've never attended a banquet with you before. Looking at her eyes filled with anticipation, I couldn't bring myself to say no. Fine. I sighed and agreed. But those kinds of occasions are very boring, and there might be tactless people looking for trouble. I'm not afraid. Su Qingyuan puffed out her chest. With you here, I'm not afraid of anything. I smiled. That one sentence was enough for me. So what if it was a treacherous feast? I was curious to see what tricks Jiang Ruoxue could pull. It was also about time to let certain people know that my woman, Lin Yan's woman, was not someone they could bully. On the night of the summit, I arrived at the venue on time with a meticulously dressed Su Qingyuan. She wore a moon-white, starry sky gown, the hem adorned with fine diamonds that sparkled under the lights. Her long hair was pinned up, revealing a graceful, swan-like neck, and her face was adorned with elegant, light makeup. She was as beautiful as a princess stepping out of fairy tale. The moment she appeared, she captured the attention of the entire room. I could feel countless gazes of amazement, jealousy, or curiosity falling upon us. I accepted it all calmly, even feeling a sense of pride. See, this is my wife. Isn't she beautiful? Envious? Lin Yin, you actually dare to come. A cold voice sounded behind us. I didn't need to turn around to know it was Jiang Ruoxue. She was also wearing a black evening gown today, with exquisite makeup and a powerful aura, still projecting that high and mighty Ice Queen persona. However, when her gaze swept over Su Qingyan by my side, a crack appeared in her carefully maintained expression. She clearly hadn't expected Su Qingyuan to be this stunning. President Jiang is here too. I turned around, raised my glass to her, and smiled like a cat that had stolen the cream. Thank you for your invitation. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had the chance to bring my wife out to see the world. Your wife? Jiang Ruoxue sneered, the contempt in her eyes undisguised. Lin Yin, don't think you're a prince just because you're wearing royal robes. Some things are in a person's bones and can't be changed. Don't regret bringing her here later. After speaking, she swayed her hips and walked into the crowd. I watched her back, my gaze turning cold. It seemed there would be a good show tonight. Honey, is she going to do something to us? Su Qingyan nervously gripped my arm. Don't be afraid. I patted her hand reassuringly. We'll deal with whatever comes our way. With me here, no one can bully you. I led her to a sofa in a corner, away from the center of the crowd. I just wanted to be a quiet, handsome man and wait for the show to begin. Sure enough, halfway through the banquet, the host suddenly walked onto the stage and announced a piece of bombshell news. Distinguished guests, tonight, we are incredibly honored to have a mysterious guest. He is the rotating chairman of the Huaxia Business Alliance, Mr. Su Jinbang. As soon as the words fell, thunderous applause erupted from the audience. My heart skipped a beat. Su Jinbang, I felt like I had heard that name somewhere before. Under the gaze of the entire room, a middle-aged man in a Zhongshan suit, looking vigorous and possessing a powerful aura, walked onto the stage surrounded by a group of people. When I saw him, my pupils contracted sharply. Because this man, I've seen him before. Right on Su Qingyuan's phone screensaver. She pointed at the photo and told me with a proud look, "Look, this is my dad. Handsome, right? So, my convenient wife's father is the chairman of the Huaxia Business Alliance?" I feel like my worldview has been overturned once again. I stiffly turned my head to look at Su Qingyuan beside me. She was waving excitedly at the stage, whispering, "Dad, Dad, I'm here." Me. It seems I've married someone quite extraordinary. Chapter 9. Su Jinbang on the stage had clearly seen his precious daughter too. On his naturally imposing face, a loving smile instantly appeared. He whispered a few words to the host, then took the microphone and walked to the edge of the stage, his gaze precisely locking onto our corner. "Everyone, thank you for your support." His voice was steady and powerful, reaching every corner of the venue. Today, besides attending this summit, I have a personal matter that I'd like to take this opportunity to announce to everyone. The entire venue instantly fell silent, everyone looking at him with curiosity, including Jiang Ruoxue not far away. She probably thought Su Jinbang was about to announce some major business collaboration, perhaps one involving her Jiang family. A smile of confident expectation had already appeared on her face. However, Su Jinbang's next words made her smile freeze completely on her face. "My daughter, Su Qingyuan." Su Jinbang's gaze fell gently on Su Qingyuan. Last month, she was happily married to Mr. Lin Yin, the president of the Lin Corporation. He paused, his gaze turning to me, filled with the scrutiny and satisfaction of a father-in-law looking at his son-in-law. From this day forward, Lin Yin is my Su Jinbang's son-in-law. The Lin Corporation is also my Su family's most important partner. I hope that everyone present will look after him in the future. Anyone who dares to cross my son-in-law is crossing me. Su Jinbang. Boom! The entire venue instantly erupted. Everyone looked at me as if they had seen a ghost. Shock, envy, jealousy, disbelief. I became the focus of the entire room. I could feel countless scorching gazes almost piercing through me. And I just sat there calmly, even raising my glass in a distant toast to Su Jinbang on the stage. Inside, however, a tempest was already raging. I fucking married a princess, the only daughter of the richest man in the country. I always thought I had transmigrated into a book with the script of a super rich man living a lazy life. After all this time, it turns out to be the script of a live-in son-in-law who wins by doing nothing. This is even better than just lying flat. I turn my head to look at Jiang Ruoxue in the distance. Her complexion could no longer be described as pale. It was an ashen gray. She stared at me intently, then at the sweetly smiling Su Qingyuan beside me, her eyes filled with despair and regret. She probably never dreamed that the worthless sycophant in her eyes, fit only to be her stepping stone, would in the blink of an eye become the son-in-law of the Su family, someone even her own father had to look up to. She would have never imagined that the unpresentable wild girl in her eyes was actually the daughter of the #1 financial magnate in Huaxia. Is there anything more ironic, more of a slap in the face in this world? I saw her body sway, almost losing her balance. The expression on her Father Jiang, beside her was equally ugly to the extreme. He quickly walked to Jiang Ruoxue's side, lowered his voice, his tone filled with anger and terror. This is the worthless piece of trash you were talking about? This is the wild girl who came out of nowhere that you mentioned? Jiang Ruoxue, you truly are my good daughter. You've completely ruined our Jiang family. I heard their conversation crystal clear. The smile at the corner of my mouth deepened. This is the scene I was hoping to see. This is the true essence of a cool novel. After announcing the news, Su Jinbong came down from the stage and walked straight towards us. The group of business tycoons behind him also followed closely. Dad, Su Qingyuan, like a happy little butterfly, threw herself into Su Jinbong's arms. You silly girl, getting married is such a big deal, and you didn't even tell the family. Su Jinbong scolded her verbally, but his face was full of doting smiles. I just wanted to give you a surprise, Su Qingyuan said coquettishly. After the father and daughter exchanged pleasantries, Su Jinbong's gaze fell on me. You are Lin Yin? He looked me up and down. Dad, I called out smoothly. Anyway, what's done is done. The father-in-law has to be addressed sooner or later. This dad made Su Jinbong ecstatic. Good lad. He slapped my shoulder forcefully. My daughter has excellent taste. If Qingyuan suffers even the slightest grievance in the future, I will hold you solely responsible. Rest assured, I will not let her be wronged. I promise solemnly. Just then, the group of tycoons around us swarmed over. Chairman Su, is this your son-in-law? Truly a man of outstanding presence, a dragon among men. Mr. Lin, you are so accomplished at such a young age. We'll look forward to your guidance in the future. Mr. Lin, here's my business card. Let's have tea sometime. These business giants, who had just been dismissive and even somewhat contemptuous of me, now all wore fawning expressions. I dealt with them perfunctorily, my gaze passing over the crowd to once again land on Jiang Ruoxue. She stood alone in a corner, desolate, like a stray dog abandoned by the world. She looked at us, the center of attention, her eyes hollow and filled with regret. I knew that from this day forward, this once high and mighty ice queen would be utterly knocked from her pedestal. And what she had lost was not just a fiancé, but everything she had ever been proud of. I withdrew my gaze and tightened my grip on Su Qingyuan's hand beside me. A farce had finally come to an end, and my life was just beginning. A life with money, looks, leisure, and a wife who had a powerful background and loved me. Fucking awesome. The day after the summit ended, a massive earthquake shook the entire business world. The Jiang family, once a dominant force in City A, fell apart overnight. First, their stock price plummeted. Then partners terminated their contracts one after another, banks called in their debts, and their capital chain completely ruptured. Behind all this, of course, was the shadow of my convenient father-in-law. But it was mostly the anti-Jiang alliance, spontaneously formed by those who had been suppressed by the Jiang family in the past, and the opportunists who wanted to curry favor with the Su family. When a tree falls, the monkeys scatter. When a wall is pushed, everyone joins in. The business world is just that realistic and cruel. I felt no sympathy for any of this. Jiang Ruoxue had brought it all upon herself. If she hadn't provoked me, if she hadn't spoken ill of Su Qingyuan, perhaps the Jiang family could have survived for a few more years. But she just had a court death, so she could blame no one else. Chinamo was reporting this to me while I was pushing Su Qingyuan on a swing in the back garden. The sun was perfect, the breeze gentle. She wore a white dress, smiling like a child. Mr. Lin. Chinamo pushed up his glasses, his tone seeking instruction. Jiang Ruashi wants to see you. She has been waiting outside the villa for 3 hours. I won't see her, I answered without hesitation. She says she knows she was wrong and wants to apologize to you and Madam in person. There's no need. I looked at Su Qingyuan's smiling face and said lightly, my wife doesn't want to see her. Understood. Chen Mo hung up the phone. Su Qingyuan jumped off the swing and ran to my side, asking with some concern, honey, are we being too cruel? I pulled her into my arms and had her sit on my lap. Qingyuan, you must remember, mercy to an enemy is cruelty to yourself. Some people are not worthy of sympathy. I held her face and looked seriously into her eyes. I don't care what you were like before, but from now on, you are my wife, the person I, Lin Yin, will protect for the rest of my life. Anyone who dares to cause you the slightest grievance, I will make them pay 100, 1,000 times over. Understand? Su Qingyuan nodded, as if only half understanding, then leaned in and kissed my lips. Honey, you're so good to me. I smiled. Silly girl, is it me who is good or my family background? But it didn't matter anymore. After all, we were already married. We have a lifetime to figure out who can't live without whom. With the trouble of the Jiang family resolved, my life returned to a peaceful, idle state. My days consisted of accompanying my wife, petting the cat, and exploring gourmet food. As for the company, with the elite team sent by Chen Mo and Su Zhenbong, I couldn't even be bothered to read the reports. I had truly taken the art of lying flat to the extreme. However, the peaceful days didn't last long before I discovered something that shocked me. That day, I stumbled upon an old photo album in the study. In the album were photos of Su Qingyuan from childhood to adulthood, from a chubby, cherubic little girl to a graceful young lady. Every picture was so adorable it could melt your heart. I flipped through them one by one, a fond, maternal smile unknowingly spreading across my face, until I reached the last page. It was a group photo. The background was an orphanage. In the photo, a dozen or so children were gathered together, smiling happily. And in the crowd, I saw two familiar figures. One was Su Qingyuan, around 10 years old, with 2 pigtails, laughing without a care in the world. And the other was a little boy who looked a bit withdrawn, but whose handsome features were already apparent. That boy, I knew him, because he looked exactly like the childhood version of the cannon fodder, male, supporting character from the original novel, Lin Yin. What shocked me even more was the line of elegant handwriting on the back of the photo. I hope my brother Lin Yin can be happy forever. It was signed, Little Yuan, who loves you. My brain buzzed and exploded once more. What? What was going on? This scene never happened in the original novel. The Lin Yin in the original novel and Su Qingyuan didn't even know each other. Could it be? An absurd thought began to form in my mind. Just then, Su Qingyuan walked in with a plate of fruit. Honey, what are you looking at? Seeing the photo album in my hand, her cheeks flushed slightly. Oh my, why are you looking at this? It's so embarrassing. I ignored her playful complaint, held up the group photo, and pointed to the little boy in it, my voice dry. Who is this? Su Qingyuan froze for a moment, then broke into a smile, as sly as a fox. She leaned close to my ear and whispered in a voice only we could hear. Him? He's the one I was betrothed to as a child. The one I've been waiting for, searching for all this time. And the one I recognized at first sight. She looked up, saw my shocked expression, and winked mischievously. Honey, isn't it a bit too late for you to find out? Chapter 11. I was completely petrified. It felt as if countless fireworks had exploded in my brain at once, leaving me dizzy and my mind a total blank. Childhood betrothal? Been waiting all this time? Recognized at first sight? It was too much information. My CPU just burned out. Looking at this girl, smiling like a little fox, I suddenly felt as if I had never truly known her. So, I managed to speak with difficulty. The day we got our marriage certificate, you didn't mistake me for someone else? Of course not, Su Qingyuan said with righteous conviction. I waited for you for so many years. How could I get it wrong? Then why did you? Why didn't I just tell you? She cut me off, tilting her head playfully, because I wanted to see if you would fall for me even without our childhood connection. She paused, a smug look in her eyes. And as it turns out, I'm quite charming, aren't I? Me? I was speechless. I had always thought I was the player in control, the one with the omniscient view. It turns out, I was the fool who was kept in the dark, the one whose life had been perfectly arranged. And this seemingly innocent and harmless little white rabbit before me was the big bad wolf hiding the deepest. Then how were you so sure that I was that Lin Yin? I was still confused. What if I was just a stranger with the same name? After all, I don't remember anything from my childhood. I was probing her. I wanted to know how much she knew. Su Qingyuan's smile became more meaningful. She reached out a finger and gently tapped my heart. Because this is different now, she said softly. The brother Lin Yin I knew was a good person, but he wasn't happy. There was no light in his eyes. But you were different. The moment I saw you, I knew you weren't him. Or rather, you are a new, better him. One who will live for himself, who will enjoy life, whose eyes hold the stars and the sea. And the one I like is the you right now. Her words struck my heart hard. An indescribable warmth instantly flooded my entire body. So, she knew everything. She knew I wasn't the original Lin Yin. She knew I was a lonely soul from another world. But she didn't expose me, wasn't afraid of me. She just used her own way, little by little, to get closer to me, to warm me, to heal me. I looked into her sincere eyes, which held not a trace of impurity, and for some reason, my own eyes began to burn. In 2 lifetimes, this was the first time I had ever felt the feeling of being chosen with such conviction. I could no longer control my emotions. I pulled her into a tight embrace, the force so strong it felt like I was trying to merge her into my very bones and blood. You fool, my voice was hoarse. Weren't you afraid I was a bad person? You're not. She was in my arms, saying in a muffled voice, my intuition tells me you're a good person. Even if the whole world says you're a bad person, I'll still believe you. I smiled silently, smiled until tears almost came out. How fortunate I was to have met someone like her. Su Yingduan. I released her, held her face in my hands, and looked into her eyes with solemnity. I love you. I said those 3 words with absolute clarity and solemnity. This was the first time in my 2 lifetimes that I had ever said those 3 words to a girl. Su Qingyuan's eyes lit up in an instant. That light was more brilliant than any star I had ever seen. She didn't speak, but simply stood on her tiptoes and took the initiative to kiss my lips. This kiss was gentle and lingering, filled with joy and the preciousness of having found something that was lost. After a long moment, our lips parted. She leaned against my chest and whispered, "Hubby, I love you too." I looked down at her flushed cheeks and moist lips, a burning warmth spreading through my heart. Perhaps transmigrating into this book wasn't for me to just lie flat and enjoy life. It was to let me meet her, the only light in my life. Chapter 12. From that day on, I completely gave up resisting. I willingly became devoted to Su Qingyuan. I no longer thought about the original plot of the novel, no longer cared about being some cannon fodder male supporting character. My life script had already been rewritten from the moment I met her. This was a unique, sweet, and doting script that belonged only to her and me. We went to many places together. To Hokkaido to see the snow, kissing amidst the falling flakes. To the Maldives to dive, chasing schools of fish under the azure sea. To feed the pigeons under the Eiffel Tower in Paris, and watch the sunset by the Seine. I used all my energy and time to make up for the years we had missed. My assistant, Chen Mo, had completely given up on me. His job now consisted of helping me handle annoying company affairs and booking flights, reserving hotels, and planning travel itineraries. He had transformed from a business elite into an all-powerful butler. I felt no guilt about this. With great ability comes great responsibility. After all, my father-in-law, Su Jinbong, also had some complaints about me neglecting my proper duties. He tried to talk to me several times, attempting to pull me back to the right path. Lin Yin, a man should still prioritize his career. Qingyuan may be naive, but you can't really just lie flat like this. Don't worry, Dad, I replied without looking up, while peeling a shrimp for Su Qingyuan. If the sky falls, won't you be there to hold it up? Su Jinbong was choked by my words and couldn't speak for a long moment. Finally, he could only point at me sigh in disappointment, and leave. Watching her father storm off in a huff because of me, Su Qingyuan doubled over with laughter. Hubby, you're so bad. I'm only bad to you. I fed the peeled shrimp in her mouth. She closed her eyes in bliss, like a cat that had secretly eaten a dried fish. Days like these were truly wonderful. So wonderful that it made me feel like I had wasted the past few decades of my life. Our wedding was held on a warm spring day with flowers in full bloom. The venue was a private island, not open to the public. No media was invited, no business tycoons. Those present were our closest family and friends. I stood under a floral arch, dressed in a white suit, waiting for my bride. When Su Qingyuan, in her pure white wedding gown, walked towards me step by step on her father's arm, I felt as if the entire world had lit up. She was breathtakingly beautiful today. Su Zhenbong solemnly placed her hand in mine. Lin Yin, I'm giving you my entire world. His eyes were red, his voice choked with emotion. Don't worry, Dad. I held Su Qingyuan's hand tightly and promised solemnly. I will use my entire world to love her. We exchanged rings and took our vows before the pastor. When I said the words, I do, my heart was filled with an unprecedented sense of contentment and happiness. I bent down and kissed my bride. Sunlight, beach, waves, and the blessings of our loved ones. Everything was as beautiful as a dream. But it wasn't a dream. It was my reality. It was the good fortune that I, Lin Yin, had earned over 2 lifetimes. I held my wife, gazing at the beautiful scenery where the sea met the sky, with only one thought in my mind. To hell with the male-oriented power fantasy novels. To hell with the lie-flat script. All I need in my life is a sweet, doting romance. To all the handsome guys and beautiful ladies, if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.